So, as by the title and thumbnail you see, there's been a Latvian variant of the Blair Witch, or at least relatively similar. I won't have many clips, as much as I can find. Maybe it's probably just going to be clips and images from the trailer, but I'm still going to show something on screen so at least you get the idea of what I'm talking about. But mostly it's going to be me talking because the movie's still in cinemas. It came out last week, and 2 days ago, me and my girlfriend went to the cinema to watch it. So, firstly, I want to say the movie was surprisingly good, especially for a Latvian film, and about this kind of a area. The plot, at least the whole beginning of it, was very, very weird. The whole idea why they were there and all that. Overall, the music in the movie used everything. The scenery looked good. The camera work was nice and stable. It wasn't fully found footage. They were shooting clips for like this customer. They had to do an ad for vegetarian hot dogs or something. And yeah, that basically was why they were there. They had to like camp outside and survive. And here comes the movie's title as well as the location where they are. Basically on the border with, I think it was Estonia and Latvia. It's called Upurga, same as the movie. And overall, the whole beginning was very interesting and all that. The very first clip, though, was a couple years back where the main character, I think it was Andres or Andres, I don't remember specifically because his name wasn't said that much. His nickname was that other characters used later on in the movie, like the so-called bad guys and all that as well that were there, or at least relatively bad, was Mises, or translated there in the closed captions in the cinema it was pisser, but it's actually pussy, like he's scared and all that constantly. Anyhow, the whole intro scene also will give insight why the dude was worrisome, because in the project there was his sister's boyfriend, another lady, which was like the director, there was another dude there, and he himself as well. He brought equipment and all that. What else? Basically from the start, which gives a little insight, was probably the scene where the main dude that we also follow in the movie had an incident. Basically, a boat was knocked over in some river. It was going pretty rapid, and the speed of the water was pretty intense, and there was like some fallen trees in the water. And one of the women in the boat that was prior drowned, because in his shocked state he tried to like pull her out of the water, but he should have just let her like slide under the logs and slide out on the other side, and she wouldn't have drowned. And that basically is the whole sorry about that, my dog was throwing some stuff around. Basically it causes him to also kind of act very protective at the very start. Most of the people in the group gave him shit for it, like, oh, why are you like so protective and all that, and why are you doing this and why are you doing that. So yeah, but later on his sister told the group like, oh, there was this incident a couple of years back, a woman drowned, and he was at fault, basically, because of stress and all that. He didn't go to jail or anything. It was like called an accident and everything because, well, it kind of was like stress, boat knocked over, people are screaming for help and, you know, partially drowning. And, you know, back to the scene, you know, he's very protective of his sister and all that, and tries to save everyone, and, you know, tries to dry their clothes out, and they're starting to shoot this scene. One of their boats kind of oh no, they were knocked off the boat because there was a branch over the water, the rapids, once again. It looked like closer to autumn, maybe springtime, hard to say. But rapids definitely were there, higher than usual. And they get knocked off the boat, you know, people just had to swim and all that. And then he basically said, like, helmets, well, and vests are on at all times whilst you're on the boat. And the other dude, I forgot his name, basically he said that just as a response to the helmets and vests thing all the time in the boats, said, do you also jack off with a condom on? Which in Latvian sounded funnier. In English, also in that kind of context, it probably is more funny. And yeah, as the movie progresses forward, of course, you know, there's already a camp. They're preparing to shoot some more scenes before one of the other ladies has to leave, like the director, Eva, by the name. And what basically happens is, like, they disappear for a bit and they come back. Andres has made some sandwiches, you know, as per camping, like some with the vegetarian hot dogs and all that, and some with just veggies and stuff. So this is where one of the weird points starts, right? All of them look weird and act very weird. Like, they're, instead of eating normally, they literally stuff the food in their mouth and all that, as if they hadn't eaten for a while, and acting very weirdly. The dude's sister is, I think, even growled at him and hissed, and then, you know, walked off, basically. And here was the more interesting part. Like, Eva didn't seem too into Andres, I think. But, you know, he had to drive her out to her car. So, you know, they step in the car, about to start moving. And all of a sudden, Eva just kind of climbs on top of him. And you can guess what happens. And kind of doesn't go fully, I think. It wasn't shown in the movie. You can just kind of speculate, did they do it or not? But they were climbing in the back of the van, you know, kind of cleaned up the place, like, so they have room. And then Eva basically growled at him, and he was out cold, and then he basically woke up butt naked, crawled out of some water. And here comes the wild goose chase and the whole plot of the movie. Like, he's trying to understand what happened, and there's this wild goose chase around trying to find his mates, basically, his sister. There's this one significant item at the very start of the movie. Whilst preparing gear, his sister bought red boots, like kind of flashy girly boots, right? And you could see them, like, flowing down the river. Well, one of them, and one was found a bit somewhere on the trail, basically. Then he runs into some people, and they were aggressive, like trying to tell him off, like, leave this place and all that. And because of his ignorance and not wanting to listen, he got his ass whooped more than once. His van got vandalized, like windows smashed out, all the gear taken. I think all their boats, like inflatable boats, also taken with with everything, with the paddles and everything. Then he starts hearing about like some people running about the woods, butt naked, and then he finds out that they were alive. You know, they were running about the forest, acting like animals, butt naked, kind of having passionate intercourse at areas. His sister fooled around with the other dude, not her boyfriend. Then her boyfriend appeared. He growled like an angry animal and attacked that dude. So, yeah, it was shown as if like there was a GoPro. They were filming with that GoPro some scenes and all that. And the GoPro got knocked out of the cameraman's hand. I could guess it was the main character's sister. I don't remember her name because her name also was said like once throughout the whole movie. The main character's like sister's boyfriend growled and you know, the camera kind of falls over and then you just see one dude running off, the naked lady running behind the dude, and then someone else running, but that's kind of out of sight. You just kind of see a partial shadow. Then there was another recording of some naked man playing the violin at a side of the river, and just kind of jamming out, you could say, and then walks up to the dude, and the dude knocked the GoPro out of the cameraman's hand. It also wasn't said who was filming, and I found that interesting that like from that area where water is still, the camera still somehow managed to get somewhere else in the hands of an old lady, where the main character finds it. Then he manages to go to a gas station to ask for a laptop to view the SD card. He gets told not to watch anything intimate, or as the lady said, nothing spicy. So he watches through the footage. You know, there's the very start, how they were preparing the equipment, doing some camera shots. And then there was where they went for those 30-40 minutes. When, for those 30-40 minutes, when they came back and were already partially acting like animals. And it was just like some kind of partial clearing. There was these weird flowers there, and they were sniffing them and all that. And after sniffing them, they said like they feel like in paradise and all that. Sorry for this many cuts. Like the pupper is acting up, and you know, was kind of chewing the table leg and all that, so it was kind of moving the whole camera stand and everything, and now making noise by chewing a chair. Alright, hopefully that doesn't disturb much because I can't really stop her. Anyhow, so after finding out what kind of happened, after reviewing footage, seeing them all butt naked running about, he's just kind of going back to the location where he understood that he got the camera, right? Well, the old lady where he found the camera. Then, oh yeah, right, and beforehand there was also some old guy who has these abilities, which is more important for later. He didn't speak, but he technically drowned in the river, but then after a few minutes or so he came back to life. And after coming back to life, he basically didn't speak, but had the feeling of like everything in his surroundings, who's alive, who's hurt, who needs help, or who doesn't, and everything like that. And yeah, dog was tearing apart another piece of furniture now. And yeah, anyhow. And you know, they found, correction, he found the other dude. There's like two other dudes, the boyfriend and just some black-haired dude with a beard. He finds him by locating and following a trail of like parts of his ripped t-shirt he had the day when they like left camp and all that. And found him in this kind of a like shed like barn who wrapped in a plastic wrap or something. He was fully alive and all that. He just looked like shit, honestly. Like, he looked like he was drinking for like 3-4 days, and then like he just said like, "I'm dead. Are you dead too?" And the main character kind of just nodded, and the dude was like, "Want to come next to me?" And then like I guess they stayed there for a bit, went after some hot dogs, and started chasing people around. Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much. I've said a lot about the movie, so all I can say, not to ruin the rest of the experience, my personal thoughts now. Oh damn. The movie was good. I was very surprised no one died in the movie. Well, except the very start, but that was to, I guess, build story or at least have some insight or something. But yeah, no one dies in the movie, not really. The main character kinda drowns, but after that, you know, gets revived somehow. What else? Everyone's fine. Like the Eva lady, she stayed with these kind of hunter types by the look of it. Maybe she was still relatively naked, wrapped up in a blanket when they saw her. The dude's sister and her boyfriend was completely fine. They had left the forest and were hitchhiking basically butt naked. So yeah, the whole ending was very interesting. I still liked it, but certainly not what I expected from a psychological thriller type movie. Yeah, I'd recommend people to watch it. Everyone, actually. Those people at least who like that movie genre. And yeah, I'd probably watch it again, but at home. Or, yeah, probably at home. Like, watch it again. Maybe have a closer look and all that at things that happen there. Because in the cinema, there's a different vibe, you know, there's different people there. Plus, you know, I can't really analyze too much that's happening there because I also can't really pause it or, you know, wind back a couple seconds to look at something if I have missed it or not, you know. But other than that, one of the better Latvian kind of horror-ish movies I have seen. It's a recommendation from me, for all of y'all to watch it too. You won't regret it. So, yeah. That's it for now, and I'll see you later.